This is big breaking emergency news. We now have the National Guard. They're preparing for a major attack on the US, and they're preparing potentially for things like blackouts, for EMP events, for cyber events that will take over the grid and the critical infrastructure. That is what the National Guard is warning of right now, and they're talking about it on live television. They're also coordinating with other countries in Europe, with NATO allies and NATO partners, to deal with these attacks that we could soon see coming. So when the National Guard is preparing, it means it's something domestically they're getting ready for. So let's dive into the details here really quick. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated on this urgent news going on around the world and in our country. Right, so you can see here, this was a news segment that was posted on CBS News Minnesota just a few days ago, and this is what the National Guard is getting ready for right now. Major cyber attacks and major blackouts of our critical infrastructure inside the U.S. You can see here, listen to this.
Minnesota's National Guard is taking a long-standing partnership to the next level this weekend. It's not your typical military training exercise. WCCO's Adam Duxter shares the hope it could protect us during fights of the future, all while growing a partnership built in years past.
In a room full of computers, the Minnesota National Guard practicing defending from warfare of the future.
We are playing the role of a team that has been called in to help defend a network that is under attack.
This 3-day defense exercise aimed to stop a hypothetical cyber attack, as similar attacks in real life grow more common.
So really, you can use your imagination. Just about anything can happen with a cyber attack. There isn't really anything in particular. You kind of have to be prepared for just about anything.
Lieutenant Kai Peterson says what's different about this weekend.
If we're going to potentially have to respond to something with our allies, especially NATO allies, we need to know how each other operate.
Is who's...
All right, so you heard that there. He's warning that these cyber attacks could be anything. They could happen anywhere, anytime, and he's saying that they need to be in coordination with NATO as well. So we're entering territory where soon these cyber attacks could be declarations of war, right? NATO could decide that this is an attack on a NATO territory and we're going to respond with Article 5. And they're coordinating right now with Norway, which is right over there near Russia, right near where a lot of this hot zone is right now. Okay, so we could see these major cyber attacks domestically. They're getting prepared for it. They're getting ready for it. We could see bad actors take advantage of these situations, create false flag events, create gray events where it's hard to tell exactly where these attacks are coming from. Right? This is a very sketchy and dangerous territory that we are entering, and it could also be used as a declaration of war in the future with NATO. And he's talking about affecting everything, the electric grid, your water supply, right? That's already been happening just a few months ago, right? Your banking, the supply chain, all these things are up for grabs, and they've been getting hit left and right. Let's finish this video really quick.
At the table with them for the very first time.
We didn't actually know that before we left.
Members of the Norwegian Armed Forces.
We came here and everyone was like, "You're a big deal." And we were like, "Oh wow."
Making the trip to Minnesota to train in tandem, building on a history between the two that dates back decades.
We're really eager to learn what the Americans, how they work and what they can, and how we can supplement what they're doing.
It's been very interesting working with the Norwegians. Some of the things that we do are very similar, but everyone has their little things that they do a little bit differently, that they're a little bit better at than everyone else.
A digital fight, but a very real partnership, these groups say, is only getting stronger.
So having these chances where we get to kind of train alongside each other, we get to see how each other operates, and that's incredibly important.
Adam Duxter, WCCO News.
In 2023, Minnesota's National Guard signed.
All right, so you heard that they are training. NATO allies are getting ready for a major cyber attack on critical infrastructure. Okay, and we even have these warnings coming out. Look at this article that came out of Axios just today, just a few hours ago. It says world braces for Iran-Israel cyber attacks following missile attack. All right, so I'm telling you, this could be the next wave of this World War III situation that we're right on the edge of, if it hasn't already started. All right, and the cyber attacks are coming because it's a way to cause lots of damage, also without dropping any bombs or anything like that, right? They can do major hits. They can do even bigger hits to critical infrastructure, supply chains, things like that with a cyber attack than they can with munitions anyways, right? But this is the next phase, and they're warning that we could see more cyber attacks worldwide, especially on Israel and Iran and military targets around the world. They are worried that these are going to start getting hit very soon, right? So they're putting the narrative out here. The National Guard is preparing for this. They're putting out these stories now that there's going to be major cyber attacks. And then check out what Iran is also doing as well. It says Iran shuts nuclear facilities and cancels inspectors amid fears of Israeli attack, right? This was just today. They are shutting down all their nuclear power facilities, right? And they blocked UN inspectors from going in there. So something's going on. There's a big escalation going on here. And it either means that they are worried there's going to be physical attacks on their nuclear facilities, or maybe cyber attacks on their facilities that could cause a meltdown reactor scenario if they aren't able to control the power plants. And that is something that we need to be worried about here in the United States as well. Just last month, they were issuing in Maryland, right? They were issuing the emergency department there potassium iodide pills for free in case there's a nuclear meltdown of a power plant in that area, right? So governments are getting prepared for this. They're getting ready. Iran is shutting down their power plants. All right, another thing is that potentially, and they're not letting inspectors in, potentially they are just cutting the cord and they are going to start enriching uranium to its full capacity. That is also another possibility right now to produce nuclear weapons, right? They might be at the end of this treaty situation that they have going on where they're not allowed to have nuclear weapons. They might just throw that out the door and start enriching and producing their own weapons as well. And this shutdown and blocking of inspectors might be part of this. They might just be ramping up enrichment for weapons now. So in case this thing escalates, and they probably already have nuclear weapons, but that's also another thing to think about, just strategy-wise, military strategy-wise. What are they really doing? Why are they shutting down these nuclear facilities? And maybe it's to produce weapons, to focus on it, and they're just saying, hey, they're shut down, but they're not going to be open, but they are open, but they're just producing weapons now inside of them. All right, so that's another possibility here. And Israel has its own nuclear weapons as well. Admittedly, top officials there have admitted it multiple times. All right, so this is something we need to be ready for. We could see these cyber attacks on nuclear power plants inside the United States, and that's the really big kahuna here that could happen. That's a actual possibility. That's what they're probably really preparing for, the National Guard here, and getting ready for, is attacks like these on NATO, right? And if something like that happens, what would they declare it as, right? Would they declare it as an act of war? Think about it, a cyber attack on a nuclear power plant, and then there's a meltdown scenario, and there has to be mass evacuations of the area. Hazmat crews, the military's out there, everyone's out there. They're going to say this is potentially an act of war, right? And it could drag us into a World War III scenario even further, right? So pray for peace in all of this, right? Let's hope that there's not major escalations, because we're going to start seeing the ramifications here domestically inside the United States soon from these things, right? We're only going to be insulated from these overseas conflicts for so long. And the FBI has even been warning that we could see these, quote, terror attacks inside the U.S., all right? Law enforcement was put on high alert in New York City, Los Angeles, all of New York State, actually, multiple different Seattle, their law enforcement's on high alert. All these different law enforcement agencies are on high alert right now for potential attacks inside the United States, and these could go in coordination, right? So we could see a cyber attack on the healthcare system, on the power grid, which then the hospitals aren't going to work. The healthcare system's not going to work anyways if there's no power. Okay, they're not going to be able to do anything, run any tests, do any of their normal operations, process people. Half the equipment needs electricity as well. So that alone could shut things down. There's no water, right? So that could be phase one of some kind of actual attack in the United States, some kind of physical attack. The cyber attacks could be phase one of it, all right? So the resources are down and you can't respond. Nobody's able to respond. There's a mass casualty event, potentially, and the hospital can't respond. You can't even turn the water on to clean people up, right? That's potentially what we could be dealing with in the future, all right? So make sure you guys are getting prepared. Please hit it up for me down there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe to help get these warnings out to people. They're talking about this on live TV. They're warning of this. NATO's doing this, all right? They're getting prepared for something big. And the fact that they're doing this coordination as well, they have Norwegian soldiers training with our National Guard, right? So that's big, our domestic National Guard, for a cyber attack. So that's multi-layered. That means that they're getting ready for something really big to happen, right? So you should be getting ready to. You should be getting prepared to. You need to get out of these major cities, right? You need to try to get as off-grid as possible. Have a generator, have gas tanks, have water tanks, get solar, right? That's on our list, right? We have all those things, but we're working on solar. We're going to get solar here on our homestead soon. So we are insulated from any type of power outages, cyber attacks like this, because we have a well, but even our well, it's not going to work if there's no power. So we need to get that thing on solar ASAP and up our preparedness. All right, get off the grid as much as possible. Grow your own food as much as possible. We got a bunch of chickens. We got our stuff rocking in the backyard. And we're trying to get off of this grid as much as we can. All right, so that's what you guys need to be working on too. So you're insulated in case there's any type of attack. You are prepared. You still have electricity. You still have preps. You can help your neighbor. You can charge your neighbor's phone. You can get them a fan. You can get them water, because most people around you are not going to be prepared. Right? They're gonna be counting on you. Right? And I know that's a lot of pressure, but that's how it is. You're hearing these messages for a reason. You have this knowledge for a reason. This stuff's happening. All right, but 90% of people just, they have this normalcy bias that they don't want to really accept. It's too stressful to think about this, right? And it is stressful, but it's true, right? I'd rather just be thinking about what's actually going on and be prepared for it and be ready for it. But your neighbors, a lot of people, they're not going to be as prepared. They're not going to be as ready. So you need to have extra for them. All right, you need to be thinking about them now at this point, because I know a lot of you are even way further along than me in your preparedness journey. You've been doing this for a long time. But that's even the next level. Is all right, now we need to be thinking about what are we going to do for the community if things go down, right? And if you have a community garden, community farm, all these things you can provide, you can help people, you can barter, right? And you'll become the hub in the area. Start going to farmers markets, start supporting your local farmers there, all right? That's one of the best ways. Start talking to them and supporting them and buying their stuff. They'll love that. They'll remember you. If you go there every week, you buy a bunch of stuff, they're going to remember you, and they'll help you out if it hits the fan and there's no food around, and they have a bunch of extra eggs, they have extra meat, dairy. They're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember you. You come here every single week. They're going to help you, right? That's how you win. That's how you stay insulated from this. I did farmers markets for years with my wife, and I still remember certain people. I still remember them because they were just so nice, and they always supported me, and they would even just give us like extra sometimes, just pay extra for stuff because they just wanted to support our small little farm, right? And people will remember that though, and they'll want to help you if anything like this ever happens, right? That's called human equity, human capital. That's important as well too, right? So thank you guys. I hope you guys are getting prepared, getting ready, getting stocked up. Hope you guys have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.